Have you ever had people smile at you? Not because they believed in you, but because they didn't. Have you ever told someone your dream, only to watch their eyes glaze over, their lips curl into a quiet laugh, as if to say, "Sure you will"? They called me lazy, useless, a dreamer with empty hands. And I let them. Until one day, my silence became the most painful revenge they'd ever experience. Before we get into this story, if you've ever been underestimated, if someone has ever looked down on you and decided your future for you, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Because this story isn't just about success. It's about the kind of revenge that doesn't shout. It proves. This story begins in a small village surrounded by endless green fields and tall, whispering trees. The kind of place where everyone knows your name and your mistakes. My name is Amir. I was 25 years old. Strong, healthy, and completely full of dreams. Every evening, when the sun dipped low and the men gathered near the well, I would talk. I talked about golden crops, about being the richest farmer in the village, about respect. I talked a lot. And that was my first crime. Because while I talked, everyone else worked. At sunrise, farmers walked to their fields with tools on their shoulders. I stayed in bed, staring at the ceiling, telling myself, I'll go later. When backs bent under the sun, hands blistered and clothes soaked with sweat, I sat in the shade, imagining my future instead of earning it. At first, people listened. Then they smiled. Then they laughed. Then they laughed. I heard whispers behind my back. There goes Amir, the future king of dreams. He'll be rich tomorrow. Always tomorrow. Strong body. Weak will. The laughter didn't come all at once. It crept in slowly, like rot. And the worst part? They were right. My land, fertile, black soil, lay empty. Not a single crop. Not even weeds. One evening, my uncle came to visit. He was an old farmer. His hands were cracked like dry earth. His eyes sharp, tired, and honest. He stood at the edge of my field for a long time without speaking. Then he said quietly, Amir, you talk about harvests, but I see only excuses. I laughed it off. Uncle, relax. I'll start tomorrow. He didn't laugh back. Instead, he reached into his pocket and pulled out 2 small bags. Seeds, he said. But not ordinary ones. He placed them in my palm. One is ambition. Water it every day, and it will grow into wealth, respect, and freedom. Tap the second bag. The other is laziness. You don't need to water it. It grows on its own. And it destroys everything around it. His voice dropped. You already planted one of these, Amir. The question is, which one will you protect? I nodded. Pretended I understood. That night, I told myself, of course I'll choose ambition. The next morning, I slept in. Days passed. Out of boredom, not discipline, I planted both seeds. Weeks passed. I forgot them completely. And when I finally returned to my field, my stomach dropped. The laziness seed had exploded across the land. Thick weeds. Sharp vines. Choking everything. And the ambition seed. A thin, yellow stem. Bent. Dry. Dying. That was the moment I felt it. Not sadness. Shame. Because standing at the edge of that field, I didn't just see my failure. I heard every laugh. Every whisper. Every look of pity. My uncle returned. He didn't scold me. That was worse. This, he said, pointing to the weeds, is your revenge on yourself. That night, I didn't sleep. For the first time, I didn't dream of success. I remembered faces. Smirks. The way people stopped asking me about my plans. Because they already knew the ending. And something inside me snapped. Not anger. Resolve. Before sunrise, I went to the field. I grabbed the weeds with my bare hands. They tore my skin. My back screamed. My fingers bled. I didn't stop. Day after day. Week after week. While others slept, I worked. While they talked, I planted. While they laughed, I learned. I said nothing. That was the revenge. Years passed. My field changed. Green turned to gold. My crop stood taller than any in the village. People noticed. Asking questions. Amir. How did you do this? When did this happen? I smiled. The same men who laughed at me now waited for my advice. The same voices that mocked me now spoke my name with respect. One harvest season, the village gathered to celebrate. I stood in the center. Silent. And for the first time, no one laughed. That was the moment. Not when I got rich. Not when I succeeded. But when they finally understood. I didn't need to explain myself. My uncle stood beside me and whispered. You see, Amir. The best revenge isn't proving them wrong. It's becoming so undeniable. They're forced to admit it themselves. I looked around. Every face told the same story. Regret. Here's the truth. Laziness doesn't scream. It whispers, tomorrow. And ambition doesn't survive on dreams. Only action. The most painful revenge isn't loud. It's quiet. Consistent. And impossible to ignore. If this story hit close to home. If you've ever been underestimated, dismissed, or laughed at, smash that like button. Subscribe for more stories of silent revenge and earned justice. And tell me in the comments. What dream are you done postponing? Because tomorrow is how laziness wins. And today, that's how revenge begins.